Well, hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of the Llama Commerce Show. I am Brett Curry, the host of the Llama Commerce Show, where our goal is to demystify e-commerce into actionable bites. Really excited about the show today. I think this is going to be fun and enlightening for our audience. And we've got a great guest. It's a client of ours, friend of ours, hailing from one of my very favorite cities in the U.S., San Diego. And this is going to be a great story about a brand that's up and coming and really created from scratch. So I think there's going to be some great lessons on how to build a great online brand, how to build a lifestyle brand, and lots of other fun e-commerce tips. So it's my pleasure to welcome my friend Chris Lynch from Everyday California. How you doing, Chris?
Good, Brett. How you guys doing over there?
Good. So this really is kind of a pointless question because I know the answer, but what is the weather like in San Diego right now?
It's about 75 and sunny. I'm looking out the window right here.
75 and sunny. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
Sunny and warm. Yeah, so one of my favorite cities, and you guys are in really one of my favorite parts of San Diego. Why don't you tell folks where you guys are located?
We are located in La Jolla. I'm in downtown La Jolla up by the Village right now, and our retail stores are down in La Jolla Shores by the beach. So it doesn't really get any better.
Yeah, and so you guys have some great videos, which I encourage everyone to go check out on Facebook or just go to everydaycalifornia.com. Watch the videos. You will be itching to hop on a plane or in a car or wherever you're located and head to San Diego. But why does everybody love La Jolla and La Jolla Shores so much? Because I hear people say that it's like the best of San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, it's pristine. That's the thing about it. There's La Jolla Cove where we are, and it's got the most sea life in California. The water is warm down here. It's crystal clear. Really, there's not a nicer neighborhood in Southern California.
Yeah.
A little biased, but it's perfect.
I think you're spot on, though. I mean, we've visited now San Diego 3 or 4 times for conferences and things, and I absolutely love it. So excited about the topic today. We're going to talk about the genesis of Everyday California and how it's evolving into this awesome lifestyle brand. I do have to point out, because I think people want to know, and those that are listening on the podcast, this may cause you to want to go and watch the video. But Chris, I hear you won a prestigious award from the publication Cosmo. In fact, I think a few years ago you won California's most eligible bachelor by Cosmo magazine. Is that rumor correct?
That is correct. I have to give that one to my sister. She nominated me without me knowing, and I just went to work one day and got a phone call from New York, and they congratulated me that I was California's most eligible bachelor. So
I think it was a prank call at first, where you're like, yeah, whatever, yeah, I got to get back to work, forget it.
Yeah, they had to convince me a little bit. Yeah. But now I got a great group of California's most eligible wingmen that all surround me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like your posse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we haven't officially decided, if we're going to offer awards on the Llama Commerce Show. We did used to give out a trophy on every show. We'll probably bring that back. But if we ever give out like most eligible bachelor award, I'll make sure your name's put in the hat.
It'd be an honor just to be nominated, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So let's dive in. Like I said, I love your brand, and obviously I've enjoyed working with you guys on some SEO projects and Google Shopping and a few things. But talk to me about how did this business start? How did you guys get into the business? What's the genesis story of Everyday California?
Yeah, so myself and my business partner, Mike Sommer, actually worked for a ocean adventure company in college. That company was called OEX, and we were doing kayak tours and paddleboarding and everything here in La Jolla. I actually left. I was living in LA. He went to grad school. We always kept in touch. When he came back from grad school, he was working for the company again, managing marketing, and the original owners were ready to get out. They had kind of gone separate ways. They'd opened up other stores, and they basically offered us the opportunity to buy the permit. Here in La Jolla, you need a permit to operate. The city, you're going to pay the city for everything you do, and there's only 5 of them. So he called me up and said, "Hey, we can buy this permit, and And
there's only permit for 5 adventure companies?
5 adventure companies, yeah. So we are one of 5 in La Jolla. And we really started, when we started, we had a pickup truck. We had about 20 kayaks. We had some scuba gear, a few beat up old surfboards, and our cell phones. And we really ran the business for the first 6 months with the cell phone, and we got an iPad, and we got all technical. And
cell phone in a truck, right? I mean, did you have a storefront at that time, or was it just all out of the truck?
No, we were actually we were lucky enough to hook up with a guy who owned a surf shop in La Jolla Shores, and we said, hey, we will bring our customers in here. They'll buy your gear. They'll rent your wetsuits. And we just want to check them in here and take them out on the water. He was all for it. So we just started off, basically helping
bootstrapping him, man. That's awesome.
We bootstrapped it. Yeah, absolutely. And we've been fortunate enough that it took us a couple of years to rebrand and really get a hold of what we were doing. We built our first store about 8 months into the company. We opened a little 582 square foot box.
Tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny. And we eventually pushed through about 40,000 people in our final year inside of that little store. I mean, you'd have 40 people inside. Wow. And it was definitely probably some fire code violations. But we did what we had to do,
Yep. Life of an entrepreneur, man. You make stuff work.
We made it work, and it was a great space. You look back, and those were definitely good times. Now, I'm sitting in my office all the time. I haven't been on the water in I don't know how long, but I love what we're doing now. This next step is awesome.
You got to change it. I'm going to be there in February. I'm going to be in San Diego, so that if not before then, that should be your time to get on the water.
Perfect.
Check it out. So then I remember hearing you say, you wanted this to be a lifestyle brand from the very beginning. So did you have any idea of what this would become when it was you and your partner and the truck and the iPad and the little closet of a storefront? Did you have any idea that it would grow into this? Did you kind of have dreams and ideas, or you were just trying to make it happen?
It was a dream for sure. When I first talked to Mike about buying the permit, that was one of the main sticking points that I had, and he had the same vision, was that we wouldn't just be this kayaking company or this paddleboard company or do diving tours. We didn't want to be a tourism company. We wanted to be a brand. And it's the same old story. Like when I first said that and I was explaining it to people, no one believed me. I'd see like the Hurley store up the street, and I'd be like, we're going to have a store just like that right next to them, and we're going to be a big brand. And people are just like laughing. They're like, you guys are. It
was like, aren't you cute? Yeah, look at you, little guy. Yeah,
exactly. But at the time, that's what we wanted, and that's what I was really going after. But we did. We had like one T-shirt and one hat. Like we were nowhere near where we are now.
So you had the T-shirt and the hat from the very beginning, or almost the very beginning?
Almost the very beginning. When we opened our first store 8 months in, we printed, we went to the local print shop and bought some blanks and printed off a few T-shirts, and they started selling. So we sold some more, and we made some more, and we just started. We're also fortunate enough that we have the adventure company that backs up the apparel company. We would never be able to do what we've done in such a short amount of time had we not had a cash flow positive business backing up the brand.
Which is beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and that gives us a customer base as well. With all of these people visiting and coming out on the water with us, we have an engaged audience that we've been able to capture and tell a story to, and really keep them involved in the brand.
And I think there's a lesson to be learned here, because you got this awesome adventure service, and I've been to La Jolla, and the water's amazing, and I tried to surf when I was there, but everybody was full, so I couldn't take lessons. I didn't know you at the time. But you go out on a kayak tour, you go through the caves, you watch whales in the winter, or we actually saw sea lions swimming around. You experience that, and then there's just this atmosphere in Southern California that's amazing. So you have this awesome experience, and then why not commemorate that with a T-shirt or a hat, or buy something that captures what you just experienced. So it's a very natural, I think, extension for you guys to offer apparel. And I've seen the apparel. The apparels, I actually have some. It's awesome. It's fun. It's cool. It's not the typical what you'd see a local business, like we're going to slap our logo on a t-shirt. It's not that. This is a real brand, and we'll talk about how the brand has become very legitimate here over the last several months. But so walk through the design process, right? So do you actually design, and I'm assuming you probably designed the first shirts, but talk about what is that design process like?
Yeah, I started designing everything. I kind of taught myself how to use Photoshop and Illustrator and all those through YouTube videos. I started back in high school, so I had a little bit of experience with it. And yeah, from the beginning, it was really just me learning and making mistakes. I made plenty of them. I made logos that were horrible. I made shirts that just wouldn't sell, that we just ended up having to give away. Now it's definitely evolved. We have a lot more people in the company. I still kind of consider myself the creative director of that. And I will make graphics, and I'll find the right manufacturers to work with, and have really expanded the brand. But I'm lucky enough now that I can kind of point our designers in the direction that I want to go, and be able to tweak things along the way. And a lot of that's the reason why we've grown. If it was still me sitting here just kind of, trying to make stuff on my own, I'm not the greatest designer in the world, but it's working. Something's working. I'm not sure.
It's definitely working. It's definitely firing on all cylinders. But that's another good point as well. Every merchant's going to grow to a point where they can't do it all themselves, and they have to bring around the right team. And really, I think that's one of the best skills that an entrepreneur can have is picking the right team and having the right people work with you and support you and help you. And so you've done obviously a good job of that. Let's talk about this aspect really quickly, because I think it's kind of fun. Your logo and your name. That's a tough thing. I know I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs naming their company, and I run into some new startups, and I think that, and I hear the name, and I think that is just a terrible, horrible name, and you see logos that are bad. So how did that start? So your name, Everyday California. Where did that come from? And then your logo, you got Brutus, the California bear. He's got the surfboard under his arm. Very cool. Yeah. Where do those things come from?
So the bear Brutus came first. My business partner had a rough idea of what he wanted to do. He's from Wisconsin, and the California flag and the bear, is iconic everywhere. So he knew that that's what he wanted. So he actually took a cardboard cutout and made this really very crude logo, and sort of kind of handed it to me and said, let's make something like this. And I took it a little bit.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cardboard. I took it a little bit further. From there, I couldn't get it to even where we thought it needed to be. We went out and we did the 99 designs, which we didn't get anything too good on it, but we got closer to what we're looking for. Eventually, we hired multiple designers to finalize the logo that we have now. And it's the perfect logo for what we're trying to do. For us, I love it. And it's gone really well. As far as the name, we knew we wanted California in it. California sells. We just didn't know what it would be. I mean, we would get together like once a month in the beginning and bring anybody around to give them some beers and say, all right, what do you guys think? Yeah. And Everyday California kind of we couldn't figure anything else out, really. We almost settled on something California.
Something California. All right.
I'm glad we didn't do.
I like Everyday better.
Yeah. And it's gone well now, but again, in the beginning, it was the same sort of thing. My dad even hated the name. He's like, I don't know, guys. It's a little long.
Little long, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, a name and a brand and a logo, I think, is just what you make of it. When you first make it, Google.
Right. Yeah. There's no set formula there. I think that's something everybody tries to create, tries to whittle marketing down into a formula and e-commerce into a formula. And there are elements that can be formulaic, but a name and a logo is so much feel to it, and it is what you make of it. people always ask, that's a really interesting Genesis story. People always ask about the genesis of Classy Llama and how did we come up with a name like Classy Llama. And I wasn't around. I knew the guys at the time, but was not part of the team. And it was kind of one of those things where they forced themselves to pick a name at a certain time, and Classy Llama was the most interesting. So it's like, I don't know. It's funny how those things come to be.
And it's a great name. And at the time, they might have been like, I don't know, Classy Llama. See what happens,
People will potentially hate it, but now it's very memorable. People love we give out stuffed llamas at shows and stuff, so it works. But let's talk a little bit about the brand. And so, one quick question I think it'll be kind of interesting. You mentioned Hurley in the very beginning, so you pointed out the Hurley store and you said that's going to be us.
Yeah. So
who were they kind of the example, the poster child that you were trying to go after? Were there other stores that you wanted to mimic or to be like? And so I'd love to know who is kind of your example in the beginning. And then I also like to know, who do you watch now? Like, who do you watch now for inspiration and to get good ideas from?
Yeah. In the beginning, we really or myself, I was focused on the industry that we were in. So I was focused on the surfing industry. We have a bear holding a surfboard. We're an ocean adventure company. Let's look at those guys. So we would look at the Quicksilvers and the Billabongs and Hurley, any upcoming ones, Captain Finco. You got Matus wetsuits here. You have a lot of brands, Brixton, all of them coming out of Southern California, in particular, San Diego. Almost within an hour drive of where I'm at, the major surf brands are here. So we're lucky enough to see them, meet with their reps, go to their headquarters and kind of just pick everybody's brains and see what was going on.
So those companies have been fairly helpful. Like, they're fairly open to another brand and giving you guys ideas and suggestions.
Everybody's been fairly open. That at first we were kind of secretive about it. I know so-and-so over at Quicksilver and they'll get us in and we can look around and don't say you're from another brand. But, the industry itself, I think, has opened up to it more. I don't know if it's just a generation thing where I do feel like our generation is much more open to sharing and collaborating and helping, and it's not so much a zero-sum game. No surf shop is going to carry just one brand.
Right.
So everybody has been very open. From a standpoint of who I'm following now, as we got further into it, we kind of decided that Everyday California wasn't going to be a hardcore surf brand. We don't just surf. Everybody in the company does something different. Like, got a lot of guys who are rock climbing on the weekends. You got a lot of paddleboarding going on. We do a ton of kayaking. We got kayak fishermen. There's so many different aspects to what people are doing in California that we wanted to kind of be a broader lifestyle brand. And I know people say that a lot. Everybody wants to be a lifestyle brand. But,
for a lot of companies, that doesn't even make sense. I think there are some companies that say we want to be a lifestyle brand because it sounds cool. Yeah. And that's what other companies are doing, but they probably have no business being a lifestyle brand. But you guys, absolutely, just because of the nature of what you do, it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, and we widen our reach. We don't want to be the coolest guys in town. We don't want to be the hip, up and coming local guys who only locals know the brand, and it's way over here where no one can understand it. We have 60,000 people a year come through our doors, and they're from all over the place. They're from Wisconsin, they're from New York, they're from Florida, they're from Kansas, they're from Northern California, and everybody has a different point of view and a different perspective. And as long as when they come to us or they buy something from us, they can take home a little bit of our life and our lifestyle and follow what we do, then we've succeeded. I mean, we're really just trying to have fun at what we do. We started a Snapchat account recently just because it made sense for us. I can give that out to, we have about 70 employees who are tour guides or work in the office or do sales. And every one of them is out on a daily, nightly, weekly basis, climbing, golfing, surfing. So we're like, guys, let's do a Snapchat account because it'll be interesting for other people, or hopefully it'll be interesting. If not, it's interesting for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And so then when someone's back at home in Wisconsin and winter sets in, they can follow the Snapchat of you guys out in beautiful San Diego living it up, or they can put on their Everyday California t-shirt and remember. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Another question, what are some of the channels driving your sales? So you've got this awesome natural built-in channel, 60,000 people that come through your door that are doing tours and renting paddle boards and surfboards and things. So that's an awesome channel. Yeah. What are some other channels driving business for you?
Yeah.
And then how are you maximizing some of those channels?
Email marketing for sure has been huge to us, but that does kind of relate back to our visitors because we're capturing emails every time somebody steps into a store. Facebook advertising has been going very well for us. We've seen a lot of good return through Facebook advertising, and the help from Andrew Foxwell and those guys over at Foxwell Digital has been good. We just started with them, but we're already kind of progressing and moving forward. As well as with you guys and SEO and Google PLAs. We're really kind of expanding our channels. And you and I had this conversation before. When the wintertime comes around here, we slow down a little bit, but we're now able that we have so many new products and a lot going on the brand side that we're kind of switching gears completely and focusing on e-commerce and online and capturing people from all over the place. We've had orders from, I want to say 35 countries now.
Wow.
So I don't know how somebody in, the UK or India and Japan and how they're finding us, but we'll
I mean, what percentage of those do you think came and did a tour with you versus those that have just found you organically or referral or something like that?
It's hard to say. I would say probably 20 to 40% of them maybe came here and visited us because, San Diego does have such a huge tourism market that we're getting them here. And that's why we want to give them the best experience possible, because if they're here from Japan and they have the greatest time ever and they buy a few items and they love those items, their friends now know who the brand is, and they might follow and they might start buying the apparel. And we have we make a lot of stuff in California, and that's one of our selling points for our product is that it's not just branded Everyday California, it's actually made here in California, higher quality, little higher price point, cut and sewn in LA, and all the finishing work is done here in San Diego. So the product you're getting is actually kind of embodies our whole lifestyle.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was a conscious decision, right? Because you could have had the shirts manufactured overseas or anywhere, but do you feel like that's essential to the core of the brand?
I think that it is definitely essential to have some products that are done here. I've said it in the past that it's been one of the hardest things for us from a manufacturing standpoint is to do everything here in the U.S. or here in California in particular. We're really do as much as we can here, but I can't sit there and say every single product we do is made here. It's just not possible. And we try and convey that, and we're trying to send that message to everybody that as much as we can do here, we will do here. But it's hard to say that 100% of what we do is going to be able to be made here. I mean, when you're making a backpack, you've got 30 different factories making a different piece for that backpack.
Right, yeah.
30 of those factories in Southern California that make buttons. Whereas in China, they make better quality. All the manufacturers are in this one community and they all know each other. So if we, sketch out this backpack that we want, they can go and grab everything and it's quicker and it's actually done better. But from a t-shirt standpoint, we get great fabric here in California. A lot of it is grown in the Central Valley or across the U.S. And then the sewers here in Los Angeles are very skilled and they take their time. So it just depends on what product it is and quantity-wise as well. It's quicker to get things done bulk overseas, but we don't do a whole lot at bulk. We do a lot of limited edition, and we'll make smaller quantities and sell them off and move on from there.
Nice. So let's talk about this. I think you guys have accomplished something that very few companies ever accomplish, and that's you've created this cool brand that transcends the local market. people across the country want it. They want to buy your stuff. They think it's cool. You sell out of stuff all the time. So that was a huge feat. How do you then now protect the brand, right? How do you protect it and grow it and make sure that you're staying true to your brand? And then also, how do you protect the quality of the stuff that you've got that you produce?
Absolutely. Protecting it has been a huge conversation around here as to where we want to sell, how we want to do it, what retailers we'd like to work with, and also at what rate can we grow. If Target came in tomorrow to our office and said, "Hey, we want you guys to be in all of our stores," we would not be able to handle that internally. It just wouldn't be able to happen. Part of what we've done is we've partnered with Cherokee Global Brands, a huge company. We couldn't be happier. And
for those who don't know, can you explain who Cherokee Brands is? Because this is a huge deal.
Yeah, Cherokee Global Brands is basically a brand conglomerate. They own Cherokee, which you'll see at Target. You've been seeing in Target since for 30 years now. They own Tony Hawk. They actually purchased Tony Hawk about 3 years ago. They were what's cool for us is the last brand they bought before us was Tony Hawk. So they have Tony Hawk. They have Liz Lang. They have all these really cool brands. And they're a licensing company. So they go out and they build these amazing lookbooks and these amazing lineups, and they'll do really everything from a brand building standpoint and then work with the major companies. So we started talking with them about 9 months ago, entered into an agreement where they purchased a portion of our intellectual property, and then we maintain the rights to e-commerce and our own stores, so we can continue to build the way we want to build by moving slow, opening stores, building our e-commerce platform, while they go out and they work on deals with Nordstrom's and Kitson. And it's not just here in the US, but we actually signed a deal in Canada. We've got a few in the works in other countries around that I wish I could talk about. But the crazy thing for us is Cherokee is a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ, and I am bound by I can't just come out. I wish I could sit here and say all of these cool things that are going on, but then I don't know if I'm all of a sudden involved in some insider trading.
You got to be careful there for sure.
Yeah.
So quick question then that ties into that, I think, and I say quick. This could be a really long answer, but we'll have to keep it kind of short because we're running out of time. But where do you see Everyday California in 5 years or in 2 years or whatever time frame you want to use? But where do you see the brand going from here?
I see our e-commerce store being a huge asset to us. I definitely see it becoming more of a marketplace for all things California. I see the brand expanding into other markets. A dream for me and my business partner is to have Everyday California stores in more locations. We're looking at San Francisco, we're looking at Santa Monica, we're looking at Chicago even. We want to take it and really build the brand out to becoming a kind of a go-to California lifestyle brand where we have stores all over the place. I love what PacSun has done. Will we ever be as big as PacSun? Maybe, I hope so. But we'll see. And we've done that progressively here in San Diego. We've brought in other vendors. We're not afraid to share the floor space. We like our apparel to be, the only apparel there and the number one focus. But we've brought in Shawood sunglasses because we love them. We're working with Pure Vita bracelets, which is here in San Diego. They're awesome. They're a great brand. Blenders Eyewear, Rainbow Sandals. We bring in the brands that are here in Southern California that are making moves, and we want to keep opening stores up with those other brands in mind so we can have a real footprint in retail, which is funny to say because everyone's saying retail is dying. Retail for us is fantastic. We do specialty retail. We make the coolest stores we can. And if we can continue to open up stores and grow that way and do it slowly and do it the right way, we're going to be happier than ever.
You do fantastic. And that's what's so interesting. We talked about this a show or two ago with another guest that, millennials and younger people, they don't just want to buy online. They want to buy in a variety of ways, and they want to have experiences. And so I think the companies that are going to win and really succeed are those that create a great shopping experience, whether that's online, offline, a combination of the two, which is something what you guys are going to do. And people should check it out. Your store is very cool, so look it up online and see it. You guys have a great, the outside is designed, it's awesome. The inside is cool, captures that brand, I think. And so that's really exciting. Hey, a couple of rapid fire questions and we'll have to wrap up. But you guys use Shopify on the apparel side. Why'd you guys choose Shopify? I think people in our space will want to know.
Just for the ease of use, for the out-of-box ease of use. We had built our own site on Magento. We developed the entire site. It took us 12 months to code. We had a very aggressive integrated booking system that has to do with our adventure side that we wanted to sell apparel on there as well. We were constantly working on developing issues. Magento, if you own a large company and you have a tech, like a full, tech guy on or multiple, Magento's amazing. For us, Shopify, out of the box, easy to use, so many apps. It has made our life so much easier. And then they also have a point of sale. We waited to switch until they had a legitimate point of sale that works in our retail locations. So we're able now to use it for inventory tracking online and in store. It's great.
Which I think makes a lot of sense. Having the same platform to manage in-store sales and online, that's awesome. Makes all the sense in the world. What are some tools you're excited about? So just e-commerce tools, things you guys are doing to grow the e-commerce site. Anything at all? And this could be a handful, or it could be one, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the most recent one for us was switching from MailChimp to Klaviyo for email marketing. And you've talked about this. We've talked about this before. It's such a robust system, and it does so much more than MailChimp. I can even say we've only been on it for a few months, and I'm learning things and discovering new things about it on a really a daily basis. And I think it's such a great tool. And if you're up and coming and you're smaller, I want to say it's on price wise about the same as MailChimp. Maybe a little bit more expensive, but
a little more, but you get so much more.
Yeah,
so much more.
It's worth it. Yeah, that one's been great for us.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you're capturing all 60,000 or however many people come in through the front doors. You're capturing those names. You're following up with them. Yeah. And one of the keys, we talk about it all the time, is mass emailing. I think is for the most part dead, but having very segmented, targeted, triggered, responsive emails. That's where the game is headed, and Klaviyo does that very well. So
that's
awesome.
What we're working on for more segmented, and the guys over at eCommerce Influence are helping us with that, and they're rad.
Yeah, we love those guys. Yeah, we just had Austin on the show a month ago. Something like that. So,
yeah.
Great guys. Very cool. Well, let's wrap up. We've gone over a little bit, but that's okay, with a couple of actionable bites. So as I look at this conversation, I'd love for you to chime in as well. But in terms of real takeaways, so what can an e-commerce merchant take away from this conversation? I love the fact that you dreamed big from the beginning, right? And that sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. You were able to see what your business could become, even when it was just a truck and an iPad and your partner and you. And I also like the fact that you started watching other successful companies. And even more than that, you went to those companies and you asked them, what do I have to do to succeed? And I think most people would have been scared to do that or too cautious, or they would have said, Billabong or Hurley will never talk to me. They'll never give me ideas. I could be a competitor. So I love that aspect. I love the fact that you've brought this team in around you and you're incorporating. We didn't talk about a whole lot, but you're incorporating some of the social aspects and really trying to take this idea of everyday California and make it visceral and where people can enjoy it and experience it from Wisconsin or Missouri or wherever. And man, you got some great partnerships. Going on. Excited about the Cherokee deal, and I know that doesn't just happen. You guys really worked for that. But any parting words of wisdom? So if you are any bits of wisdom that you'd impart on them?
I think you kind of touched on it, and it's so cliche, but I think from the beginning you have to just dream big, you know, and people are going to laugh at you. But that was really what kept me getting up in the morning and kept me driven and keeps me here in the office late at night is knowing where I want to be and knowing that I can do it. And it's been nice that there are, here around Southern California, there's so many examples of it, but wherever you are, you can still look around and see what's going on and say, that's who I want to be. That's where I want to be. What does it take to do that? And you just keep going until you get there. And that's, you have to believe it. And eventually, hopefully some people will come around to the idea, but it's going to take a long time. And,
yep.
yeah.
And if they don't, so what? You keep plugging away. Well, Chris, this has been fantastic. So much fun. Anyone that's looking at visiting Southern California, you got to check out Everyday California. In fact, some friends of mine, I saw on Facebook that they're going to San Diego. So I commented and said, hey, check out, go check out Everyday California. You'll be glad you did. But go to everydaycalifornia.com. Check out some of their apparel. You will want to buy some. Also watch some of the videos, fantastic video content. And so with that, we'll sign off. Chris, thanks a bunch, man. Really appreciate it. This has been a ton of fun.
Hey, it's been great, Brett. Thanks again.
Good, you bet. So as always, we want to hear your feedback. Let us know what you'd like to see more of, less of. Give us ideas and feedback. And until next time, stay classy.